It took barely 30 seconds for Nightcap to turn volcanic. Sitting between Shannon Sharpe and Chad Ochocinco Johnson, Dipset capo Jim Jones leaned forward, flashed a half grin, and dropped the line that froze the livestream. "Let's get this right. I'm way more influential than Nas." Then he dialed it up. "I'd run laps, no, Saturn rings, around Nas, rapping right now." Sharpe's eyebrows shot up. "Were you smoking when you said that?" he asked, half joking, half dagger. Jones didn't flinch. He doubled down, saying a 22-year-old born in 2003 doesn't really know who Nas is, while every new rapper knows Jim's BB Simon belt swagger. Ochocinco tried to laugh it off, but Sharpe pounced, firing back that Madison Square Garden still sells out for Nas at 50, and asked how many arenas Jones could pack on a week's notice. What began as barbershop banter spiraled into a full-blown credibility trial. Jones pivoted from bars to bench press, challenging Sharpe to a private gym showdown, proof he claimed that he's still playing at a high level. Viewers spammed the chat with crying laugh emojis and goofy memes, but the underlying question echoed louder. Was this bravado, brand strategy, or the first snap of a long-dormant fault line between Queensbridge royalty and Harlem's loudest lieutenant? By the time the episode ended, clips were ricocheting across X, Reddit, and YouTube Shorts. Every repost added jet fuel to the fire, and somewhere in the scroll avalanche, 50 Cent, the genre's undefeated puppeteer, quiet-liked a tweet mocking Capo's amnesia about Nas's catalog. That single emoji was enough for hip-hop Twitter to sense a storm brewing. If one offhand boast set off this much smoke, imagine what happens when old receipts start leaking. 3 decades after Illmatic cracked New York's pavement, Nasir Jones is still bending the concrete. In February 2023, he headlined Madison Square Garden for the first time. 34 songs, surprise cameos from Mary J. Blige and Slick Rick, and every ticket gone weeks in advance. Fans called it a one-night-only coronation. That arena triumph wasn't nostalgia. It followed a 7-album sprint with producer Hit Boy that ended on Nas's 50th birthday with Magic 3, his 17th studio project and the closing chapter of a blistering trilogy. Critics hailed the release as proof the Queensbridge poet has no decline gear. Awards finally caught up too. After 14 nominations, Nas clutched his first Grammy in 2021 when King's Disease snagged Best Rap Album, an overdue stamp that even his rivals admitted was history correcting itself. Numbers back to legend: 17 studio LPs, 16 top 10 Billboard debuts, more than 35 million albums moved worldwide. So when Jim Jones claims today's kids don't really know who Nas is, he's ignoring a catalog still packing arenas and a pen that just won a Grammy. That disconnect is what turns a hot take into an earthquake, and it's why the next chapter revisits a beef that never cooled. In the summer of 2002, Nas was already nursing his legendary feud with Jay-Z when he backed out of Hot 97's Summer Jam and stormed over to rival station power 105. With the mic still hot, he called Cam'ron's brand new "Come Home With Me" whack, lumping Dipset in with a laundry list of targets and, without realizing it, lighting the fuse on a brand new beef. Cam'ron answered in hours, hijacking Nas's own "Hate Me Now" instrumental and unleashing a freestyle so venomous it threatened to R. Kelly Nas's daughter. But it was Jim Jones, the crew's loudest lieutenant, who turned spite into sport, bellowing on mixtapes that he'd smack the kufi off Nas's head, a line that became Dipset folklore and Harlem barbershop shorthand for disrespect. What followed was 2 years of tape deck trench warfare, Nas's Zone Out, Dipset's Diplomats Volume 3, and stray shots buried in tracks like It's More Than Music. Even when the record stopped spinning, the tension never truly thawed. Cam later admitted the Queensbridge diss hurt because Nas had been an idol, but he also said Dipset's back was against the wall and controversy was survival. By 2007, the exchanges slowed, but the scar tissue stayed fresh. Jim kept the rivalry simmering with fly jabs in Summer Wit Miami, while Nas sprinkled subliminals across Street's Disciple. The two camps simply avoided each other, leaving a decade-long stalemate until Jones's 2025 podcast boast ripped the stitches back open.
Combative and people just trying, but now it's just like I'm where I'm at. I'm at the apex of what I do.
Old threats age poorly on the internet, and the Kufi line began trending again, reminding hip-hop exactly where this new drama really started. Hip-hop has plenty of instigators, but none delights in strategic chaos the way Curtis 50 Cent Jackson does. The morning after Jim's Nightcap outburst, 50 posted a single screenshot to Instagram, a grainy federal transcript from the 2018 Tekashi 6991 racketeering trial. The caption underneath was surgical, so that's why they ain't pull him in. Say it ain't so, Individual 1. Individual 1 isn't a random jab. It's the alias prosecutors used in court when playing a wiretapped call that allegedly featured Jim Jones instructing 9 Trey members to violate Tekashi for snitching. The clip never yielded charges, but the label stuck like wet paint in a humid summer. By reviving that transcript in 2025, 50 wasn't just trolling. He was reminding the industry and the streets that unanswered questions still hover over Jones's past. Blogs lit up with headlines about informant allegations, while comment sections filled with rat emojis and popcorn gifs. Jim's first instinct? Deflection via bravado. He posted an old Bird Gang photo captioned, "Why you keep lying? I'm going back to sleep. Free Mel Matrix till it's reversed." Hours later, he doubled down, challenging Shannon Sharpe to finalize that private gym duel, claiming, "Size don't matter where I'm from, run it." But the louder he flexed, the more 50 stayed uncharacteristically silent. A silence longtime fans recognize as the calm before he drops another receipt. And that raises the stakes far beyond lyrical sparring. If 50 truly has additional audio, or is simply willing to keep broadcasting the old tape, Jim's quest to prove modern relevance could morph into a reputational cliff dive. Meanwhile, Nas still hasn't uttered a syllable, leaving listeners to wonder, is Queensbridge royalty letting 50 do the dirty work? Or is he plotting a surgical reply of his own? The morning after 50 Cent's Individual 1 post, hip-hop timelines morphed into a 24-hour carnival. YouTube reaction clips of Nightcap, where Jim Jones had bragged he'd run Saturn rings around Nas, racked up hundreds of thousands of views in hours, with comment sections split between awe and secondhand embarrassment. But the real accelerant was a 90-second viral moment. Shannon Sharpe arching an eyebrow and asking, "Were you putty smoking when you said that?" The snippet rocketed across X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram Reels. By lunchtime, Shannon Sharpe trended worldwide as fans replayed the NFL Hall of Famer roasting Jones's catalog claims. Jones fired back on Instagram, posting a reel of himself curling dumbbells and daring Sharpe to a private gym duel. "Size don't matter where I'm from, run it." Sports blogs pounced, framing the debate as bars versus bench press, while culture sites like YourWeb noted Jones's clapback looked more like crisis PR than bravado. Meme smiths wasted no time. Side-by-side edits of Nas selling out Madison Square Garden and Jones live streaming from Planet Fitness flooded feeds. One YouTuber quipped that Jim had graduated from "We Fly High" to "We Cry" reps, a punchline that hit 2 million views before sundown. Meanwhile, 50 Cent watched in silence, until a silent like on a tweet labeling Jim a wiretap wonder reminded everyone the G-Unit General still had cards to play. With Sharpe's gym date unanswered and Jones doubling down on stream counts, the spectacle felt less like rap beef and more like a reality show, one that could pivot back to court transcripts the moment 50 decides the ratings need a boost. Jim insists the Nas jabs were never about ego, they were strategy. In a now viral Instagram caption, he taunted, "If you 40 and up arguing with me about Nas, y'all already lost. My streams go up every time I go viral. I'm teaching older artists a lesson in marketing." On paper, the spike-chasing math almost checks out. Jones averages approximately 860,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Nas commands approximately 9.2 million, more than 10 times the audience. When your catalog sits an order of magnitude below a legend's, even a temporary viral bump can feel like a victory lap, especially if it nudges casual listeners to revisit "We Fly High" for nostalgia's sake. History says controversy does trigger curiosity streams. After Sean Diddy Combs' 2024 legal turmoil, his catalog jumped 18% in a single week. Analysts likened the surge to a Google search in audio form. Labels quietly love that friction to streams pipeline, but it rarely rewrites an artist's long-term trajectory. Curiosity fades the moment the headlines do. That's the paradox Jim's playing with. Yes, loud takes can juice the graph, but they can also cement you as the gimmick, not the playlist staple. Meanwhile, Nas's Grammy era and arena sellouts prove that slow burn legacy pays steady dividends without weekly controversy sprints. If Jones can't parlay the buzz into sustained chart presence, the lesson isn't marketing genius. It's proof that lightning is easier to bottle than to monetize twice. And while Jim counts clicks, 50 Cent's silence suggests more receipts might be queued up, because nothing flattens a marketing plan faster than an unexpected push of that post button. Controversy can spike streams, but federal paperwork never really expires. When 50 Cent reposted that 2018 wiretap transcript where a voice prosecutor's tagged as Individual 1 tells 9 Trey members to violate Tekashi 6X99 for turning his back on the set, he yanked a sealed box back into the spotlight. In open court, Tekashi identified that voice as Jim Jones. Yet Jones was never charged, and the clip landed in legal limbo. Still, the label, Individual One, stuck to him like wet paint, an untried allegation that 50 can flash any time the temperature drops. Those whispers carry heavier weight than a rap diss. In hip-hop culture, the snitch stigma erodes street equity faster than a weak verse. Comment threads flood with rat emojis. Promoters grow skittish. Even casual listeners start side-eyeing playlists. Tekashi's own trajectory shows the cost. Viral numbers? Yes, but a public rebrand as a courtroom mascot. If 50 releases new audio, or even hints he might, Jones risks swapping viral marketing genius for wiretap wonder, a tag he's already angrily batting away on Instagram. Meanwhile, Nas keeps his silence, letting 50's receipts do the heavy lifting while Jim flexes dumbbells on the gram. But a single post can't erase 30 years of Queensbridge legacy. And every minute Nas stays quiet, speculation grows. Will the legend finally step out of the shadows? Or will 50 drop another document that ends the argument before a single bar gets written? The next move could turn a podcast spat into either a chart-topping showdown or a courtroom rerun nobody asked for. Silence can be louder than any diss track, and right now, Nas is practicing deafening restraint. While Jim Jones pumps iron on Instagram and 50 Cent polishes old receipts, the Queensbridge icon hasn't spent a single syllable. No interview rebuttal, no sly bar on a leaked snippet. In hip-hop, that kind of calm feels less like surrender and more like a sniper holding his breath. Jim's gamble hinges on attention. If the streams rise, he wins the narrative. If 50 leaks another sliver of that wiretap call, the spotlight could melt. Meanwhile, 50 hip-hop's premier puppeteer is still dangling Individual One over the crowd like a car battery over a swimming pool. Silent, patient, fully charged. One post could electrify everything. So the board is set. Nas controls the power of surprise. One calculated verse could end the debate before it truly begins. Jim Jones holds momentum, but every flex risks tipping into overexposure. 50 Cent waits with legal-grade ammo, deciding whether the show needs a finale or a fatal twist. One of them has to blink first. Will Nas finally unsheath the pen? Will Jim turn Jim talk into a chart-climbing retort? Or will 50 drop the kind of evidence that ends the argument and maybe more before a beat even plays? Your move, hip-hop. Drop your predictions below. Who do you think delivers the next shot? And will it be a bar, a bench press, or a bombshell document?